Nuclear fission is maybe the most powerful technology ever created. It has both the potential to destroy the world as we know it, but also to harness tremendous amounts of energy towards constructive projects. The scientists who created this technology understood these facts very well. Towards the end of World War II, as they were finishing their work on the Manhattan Project, they wanted to ensure that their creation was used for peaceful, constructive purposes rather than destructive ones. Their plan for ensuring this was an international system of control in which an organization similar to the United Nations had control of all of the materials necessary for harnessing nuclear technology, and which ensured that all of the various rival governments of the world did not have the capacity to build their own nuclear arsenals. Scientists crafted sophisticated proposals for how such a system might be achieved, and they discussed these proposals with the most powerful people of their time, the leaders of the governments of the United States and Britain, even the president and the prime minister themselves. Robert Oppenheimer, who was the head of the Los Alamos laboratory during the war, the epicenter of the Manhattan Project, and who has with good reason been called the father of the atomic bomb, met with President Truman and told him that he thought they had blood on their hands after the bombings of Japan in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And he expressed to him his desire for an international system of control and his wish that the United States not build out its nuclear arsenal in the years after World War II. President Truman did not respond to this well. He called Oppenheimer a crybaby scientist and told his assistant that he never wanted to see that son of a bitch in his office ever again. Oppenheimer's compatriots, when they discussed their proposals with government leaders, often met with the very same response. Not only were their proposals rejected, but even the very notion that they should have any say in how nuclear technology was used was rejected outright by these government leaders, who guarded it for themselves. Ultimately, the leaders of the United States and Britain decided not to seriously pursue any negotiations over some international scheme of control. Instead, they hoped that through a monopoly on nuclear weapons, they would be able to dominate the world in the years after the war. The scientists, to their surprise, found themselves mostly shut out of decision-making about the use of their own creation. Their mistake was not a unique one. Scientists and technologists often, very naturally, expect themselves to play a key role in determining how the things that they create are ultimately used. But the reality is that often, as soon as their creations become useful, especially as soon as they become useful to governments, they find that their creations are snatched out of their hands and used in ways that they had never intended. Today's tech leaders are learning this lesson the hard way, as they find themselves embroiled in political battles, whether they like it or not, and as they find the long arm of Washington reach across the continent, seeking to influence the affairs in their companies and seeking to influence how they use the technologies that they have created. For example, many of the biggest names in tech were revealed to have participated in the NSA's secret PRISM mass surveillance program. I'm sure many of the leaders of these companies didn't want to participate in the program, but when the government comes knocking, it's very difficult to say no, because it can harness tremendous human, legal, and financial resources to ensure that it gets what it wants. Technical people are often averse to thinking about these subjects. In many cases, what draws them to technical subjects in the first place is their clarity and objectivity, as opposed to the subjectivity and confusion of the social world. But if they want to have a say in how their creations are ultimately used in our society, they have to overcome this aversion and, in a sense, become politicians themselves. I'm Zack Lerangis. I work with Samo Burja at Bismarck Analysis. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe.